This video is presented by Giovanni Hernandez, Clayton Zamora, Selena Souza, and Christy Acosta. This is the ancient thinkers, also known as philosophers, John Locke, Thomas Hobbes, Voltaire, Montesquieu, Mary Wollstonecraft, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Cesar Bessaria. First philosopher is John Locke. He once said, "Revolt is the right of people." What that means is you have natural rights, and if your government fails to protect those rights, you then have the right to revolt and overthrow your government or leader. John Locke believed that people were naturally good, born free, and given rights to us from God. Next is Thomas Hobbes. He once said, "During the time men live without a common power to keep them all in awe, there are in that condition is called war, and such a war as if of every man against every man." This quote means that during the time people lived without laws to keep them in check, society was bad. Hobbes believed that all peoples were naturally bad and that a ruler needed absolute power to keep a society under control. He believed that in order to live a safe life, people needed to give up their rights in exchange. Next was Voltaire. He once said, "I do not agree with what you have to say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it." This means that even if he didn't agree with anything you had to say, he'd still defend the fact that you have the right to say it because you have the freedom of speech and deserve to speak what you think. Voltaire never stopped fighting for tolerance, reason, freedom of religious belief, and freedom of speech. Montesquieu. He once said, "Power should be a check to power." This meant that separation of powers would keep any individual or group from gaining total control of the government. Mary Wollstonecraft. She said, "I love my man as my fellow, but his scepter, real or usurped, extends not to me, unless the reason of an individual demands my homage, and even then the submission is to reason and not to man." This quote means that she will respect someone not because they're a man, but because they're a person and she agrees on what they have to say. Next is Rousseau. He said, "Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains." This meant that a person is born free, but the laws took that away. That's why he believed in a direct democracy, because people would basically run the government and they wouldn't have their freedom taken away by any laws. Bessaria. He said the punishment of death is the war of nation against a citizen whose destruction it judges to be necessary or useful. This quote meant that instead of punishment being very harsh, it should be based on the crime the person pursued. Thanks for watching this.